Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to a Berserk focused video. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the first 226 pages of Berserk. So, first things first, if you haven't read the story, I would recommend not watching this video yet. But a lot of people have, and so I mean, there's definitely spoilers in this. You know, proceed with caution. But I thought I would just talk about what it was like reading the first, you know, two. I don't know if they call them volumes or chapters, but I finished, I think, the first two. Let me grab my book. It's right here. I did buy the deluxe edition book, and I've got number two coming, so it should be here tomorrow. But I just didn't want to finish one and not have two here, so I got two. Pulled some of my favorite pages from the story so far, and thought I could talk a little bit about Kentaro and. Or actually, you know what? I got further along than I thought. I got to page. Oh, I got up to page 250. Yeah, I'm on page 250 exactly on the nose. So, still learning the names of things and whatnot. But yeah, so let's get into this. So his sword is so awesome. I love this shot. This is a really, really cool drawing. One of the things, I'll go into full screen mode for a second while we look at this. One of the things that I noticed with this book, and it kind of reminded me of something that's another very, very long ongoing series, is if you've ever checked out Cerebus, the early issues of Cerebus, it's kind of the same thing where it's like the art's a little more primitive. You get to see little touches of brilliance. I mean, quite a few actually in Berserk. But I always find it really fun to see someone's work evolve. Like, it's a really, really exciting thing to start kind of with them and watch the whole growth curve of their idea, their skills, the characters. I mean, it's really, really going to be an incredible journey, and it was why it was so enticing to me to actually do it. Is That's kind of what I like about comic books is longevity and things that go on for a long time. And you'll sometimes, let me get full screen mode for a second. You'll hear me say that I'm like a little bored of sometimes superhero comics and stuff like that. I mean, one of the reasons is honestly is there's so many reboots with the story, where it's not like Batman has had this like ongoing story where it's like linear to some extent. So it makes it tough for someone like me who's now followed a character like Batman for a long time, because like if I read it now, granted the stories might be new, but it's just there isn't the level of continuity that I think a singular creative team on a book can do. So stuff like this I find very interesting as a creator. And Dave Sim obviously had a huge run on Cerebus, but this is cute. So Puck is just a really fun character. It's interesting because as I was reading it, I was trying to imagine what this story would feel like without her. And I believe Puck is a girl. I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, it's a dark story, and the character of Guts is pretty dark. It's like it's dark, but I'm like curious of how dark it's gonna get. But yeah, there's a nice balance and kind of yin yang to the two characters, which actually does make it kind of cool, and I think probably in some ways made it a little bit more accessible for people that if it was just doom and gloom, this sort of dark, sort of more brooding character, it might be more alienating to some people. But it's exciting. I mean, I honestly, one of the other reasons that I was really, really, I got more and more interested in reading this is the more that I learned about the story, the more I was like, it's Blaster Kid has some really interesting parallels to this, and was exciting to know that you could create something along the lines of this. It's painting in very broad strokes, to be clear. Blaster Kid, I have the first probably 200 to 300 pages written, so I didn't change anything. But it's nice to know that ideas like this can actually go a long time. So this was a pretty cool spread. There's this like line that they always say about his sword, about the size of it, how it's like cut very roughly, and he uses his sword quite well. We'll say that. I might as well. We'll just go in order. So, a lot of people will say that Berserk is very highly influential, and that as you get further into it, you'll see more and more references to things that might have been pulled from the ideas in this book. But I spotted two really in the early issues that I'll show as we get to them, and I don't think it's a coincidence, to be honest. I actually do think that they are things that other creators got from Kentaro, and there may be more. If you know of any others, by all means point them out. So this was really cool. It was weird. I was getting Kingpin vibes from this dude. This guy is so freaking creepy, though. Oh my god, he's so scary looking. It was interesting too, as I was looking at the book and reading it. A few thoughts crossed my mind, which was, when did Hellraiser 1 and 2 come out? Because there's some things in here that felt Hellraiser-ish. And then Dune, the first Dune movie, too. I was kind of like interested to sort of like just cross. It's fun to see the chronological order of things. Because sometimes the ideas are just in the air, and you'd go, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe he got that from this. And then you find out like Dune came out like 2 years later. So anyway, this was a really, really creepy scene. This is a real moment where you start to get a little concerned for Guts's like overall mental health. He's just gotten finished with a big battle, and he laughs, and it's just really, really like a moment where you kind of go, okay, like this guy, like, he's not just sort of a mysterious sort of bad guy, like that there's a psychology to him that's a little bit weird and more twisted, and it's kind of interesting. Like, like you almost like, it's like that glimpse of someone who might be crazy. It was pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure this was the page. Oh my god, this scene was so crazy. I won't talk too much about it, but oh my god, I was not expecting this at all. It was like, whoa. I was I was upset for her already, and then this was like the icing on the cake. This is the scene right before, when Puck she goes back to the caravan, and she kind of looks inside, and then the situation starts to get even more crazy. Oh my god. It's crazy too, because this to me looks more like a young artist attempting a scene like this. Everything is very equally spaced and stuff like that. And what I like about it, though, is the fact that it's a really, really cool idea. It's nicely drawn for where he's at with his skill set. I mean, and it's just nothing overlaps, which is kind of interesting, and probably was intentional. But yeah, you just know that like 2 years from now, when he's another few hundred pages into the book, how insane stuff like this is going to be. So I really like this. I think that there's a charm to it, and just a kind of a fun quality to the drawings as is. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this, and in fact, this is drawn really, really well. So there's some really good stuff going on with this. Now, I would be curious. I was asked about this for like manga artists. Do people believe that he was using an assistant at this point for anything, or was this probably all him at this point? It's detailed art. There's some zipatone being laid down, and I just don't know the process of how someone that early in their manga career handles the workload, if they do it on their own or not. Let me know if you know. This was really powerful. This is a little bit before what we just looked at. We're kind of going backwards now, but man, this was a shocker. It was one of those moments where you went, oh, okay, nobody's safe in this book, and I like that. That's one of the things I don't like about some superhero comics, is you kind of feel like everybody, really nothing could ever happen to them that's catastrophic. And I always felt like, in particular, I had said this about Marvel years ago, before that they did, I think at one point they did kill Wolverine, but I had said like 5 or 10 years earlier, if Marvel really wanted to do something to really engage readers, if they killed a major superhero and was like, no, They're really dead. We may tell old stories of them, but that character actually just bit the dust. They never do it, but to me, that then lays down the gauntlet of like anybody can die in the books, and it makes the stories that much more important. Um, this was good. I like how his wounds weep. I believe from the impression I was getting is there's danger or something is nearby. It starts to activate sort of like these like I don't even know what you call it, like wounds. Pretty cool. It's his brand. This guy was really cool. Was a little tiny bit confusing to me at first because I couldn't tell like there was probably 3 or 4 times at least in the first 200 pages where at times he drew stuff and I couldn't tell what it was. Nothing on this page that falls into that category, but there were definitely panels that I was looking at and I knew which character it was, but I literally could not see what exactly was going on in the panel in terms of like, am I looking at a face? Is it sideways? Is it upside down? Again, nothing on this page, but there were a few drawings that were hard to read. But yeah, there's a scene where he's sitting at a, I think he's at a dinner table, and this is sitting there, and I wasn't sure if it was someone in the armor or if it was just sitting there, like in a chair, unoccupied. This was a nice spread. I like the horse's eyes are whited out. Yeah, this really reminded me of early Cerebus. I thought this was really, really cool. Really, really just kind of epic. This was really cool. Yeah, there's some interesting similarities to Cerebus with this. I actually don't know what year Berserk started, to be honest. I didn't actually look that up before I started reading the series. If I was going to guess, I would say 80s, in the 80s, but I don't know that for a fact. I'll have to look into it. So this was interesting. So this right here, if you've ever seen any of the first Resident Evil promo art, there's a very, very famous scene where a zombie turns around and looks back at you. I feel really, really confident that that's a holler back, whatever you want to call it, to this. I would bet money on it. It's just too similar. It's super creepy. It's so iconic. It's one of the more memorable images that you see in the first 200 pages, just because this guy is so creepy looking. But yeah, I don't know if this was the shot, but there's another. I thought that there was another shot where the armor. I don't, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. What's interesting too is when you read this, one thing that I have to get used to is the tails on the word balloons sometimes are really, really tiny. Like, you see how small that is. If you've read this, you know. But it sometimes makes it a little hard for me to know who's speaking, and then they'll have like caption balloons that are a little different. But yeah, I wasn't sure if the armor was empty here or not. Oh, it was this shot. Yeah, is he just sitting there and then the armor is just sort of like on this thing? This was so creepy though. Man, this guy is awesome. He had said that he wanted to have Dracula, but not Bram Stoker's Dracula, but the real Vlad is was an influence on this. And I thought that was really cool too. I people on my Patreon know I was very interested in doing a Dracula adaptation at one point, and just decided that it would have taken too many years to do it and that maybe my time would have been better used on something else. But with the Blaster Kid story, you know, I'm world building. They're anything that I'm interested in and pursuing or developing or exploring is a possibility, and that's what is just incredible about it. This was a great scene. I really like this. It's interesting too because you'll see, you know, a lot of manga artists do where they'll kind of work in like 3 different styles. They'll have this for moments. They'll do stuff like this, and then they'll even tilt it with the super super cartoony stuff. But he draws real solid, though. I will say that for as early as he was in his career, he's really consistent. His storytelling is actually quite clear most of the time, like 99% of the time, honestly. And the only other thing that was just a little bit of a challenge for me was sometimes the order of the panels, because I was reading it the correct way from like back to front, the opposite of how you would. And so at times I would find my eyes wanting to go weird directions. And anyway, Oh, and then this, the hey, wait up. So, I mean, Navi from Zelda. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I posted a scene from Zelda, but I don't think that this is a coincidence either, because she basically says that same exact thing, and I thought that was interesting. So that could actually have kind of made its way into Zelda. Again, the Puck and Guts together, I think, are really excellent. It would be really weird if like she's not in the whole story, because right now you have to understand everything I'm being introduced to. I'm used to American comics where kind of everyone sticks around forever. Not everyone, but you know what I mean. It's like as people are getting killed already, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Wow, it wasn't. I thought they might be around a little longer, but their head just got crushed. I guess I was mistaken. His sword. Yeah, see, like this is the thing. I mean, any Berserk fan knows the whole thing. I'm still learning it, but it's like it was much too big to be called a sword. And then there's like two or three other like sort of sentences, but this is a great scene. Okay, so that's it. I like again. I didn't want to put too many spoilers, but those were some of my favorite like things from the first 250 pages. There was more, of course, and I've really enjoyed reading it so far. In fact, I'm going to read for about an hour right now, and then I'm going to get to work. But I feel like I have a tremendous amount of reading ahead of me, and so I'm trying to be pretty diligent with it. And look, consistency and momentum will get you through an idea like this, which is to read more comics. And so I have to look at it as a discipline, and I also have to look at it as entertainment, and also just something that will enrich my own creativity and stuff like that. So really fun. I hope that that was a cool video for you all to check out. If you've never seen my channel before, please subscribe, and let's talk Berserk, because I'm going to be doing at least one Berserk video a week. I was almost thinking about doing something called Miura Mondays, where on Monday we catch up with where I'm at in the book. But I think I will follow through with that idea, at least for a while, but I may do videos on other days as I read like exciting parts. But there will be spoilers, but I'll warn people at the front end of the video. So, all right, have a great day, and I'll see you on Miura Monday. Bye.